Hi again. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to set up your VEX remote control with your VEX Cortex. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you need to do is set up a new project. You just click on Pros and create new Pros project, and then you can select the file that you want your project in by clicking on these dots here. I think. Yep. So I'm going to select Pros, and then I can create a new folder for my new project, which I'm going to call Joystick Sample. And like I said, I'm going to put together a sample program for the joystick. I think I said that. So select Folder, Create, and this will create your new project and bring you right into the driver control or operation control. So you can exit all these windows here by just hitting the X key, and that'll expand out this window and give you a little bit more room to work. I'm going to get rid of some of these comments here for right now, just so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now, like I did in the previous one, you need to define your motors, so where they're going to be at. So if you write define right motor, right, and I'm going to use an underscore this time, I think it's just easier to read, motor, and I'm going to set that to 2 because that's where my motor is plugged in, and then define left motor and set that equal to 3. And now I'm going to initialize two variables. I'm going to initialize my right motor power, and I'm going to set that equal to 0 initially, and then I'm going to initialize my left motor power, and these will be the variables that I use to set my right motor power and my left motor power. So pretty self-explanatory, which is what we want in programming. The next thing that you are going to do, I think I'm going to leave that delay in there. You want to set or get your motor speed, and then you want to get your analog joystick values. Now how you do this, you can use the include file here. If you go to api.h, you can find all the methods that they use to control the joystick and the Cortex. So if you just type in joystick, you'll find it, either that or just scroll down a little bit until you get to the joystick get analog. If you use the joystick get analog, what that does is it'll give you the analog sticks here. So let's go ahead and click on that, right click on that and copy it, and then Control V to paste, or right click and paste. And I have two values that I have to pass in here. I have to pass in which joystick I'm using, which is either 1 or 2 if you have a partner controller. So I'm going to pass in 1 as an argument, and then I'm going to look at the axes that I'm using. So which axes do I want to get my values from? And let me blow up the window here so you can see. So you have axes 1, 2, and then you have 3 and 4. I'm not a weatherman, it's hard to do that with it pointing at the camera. So let me minimize this again. I want to use axes 2 to get my values from, and axes 3. I want to use kind of like a tank control. So let me go ahead and start that out, and I keep saying so a lot, I'm sorry for that. Right now I'm going to plug in 2 for the axes, and then I can put a semicolon. This will give me the values for that analog stick. Now I want to set those values equal to my right motor power, and set that equal to that. Then I want to set another one of these up for the analog joystick 3 axes. So again, the 3 axes is right here. So for the 3 axes right here. Now I'm going to set this to left motor power. Let me minimize my screen here again. Left, oops, left, and then I have to set my motors equal to that. So I need to use motor set and then I need to set the channel of my motor, which I set up right here. So my right motor needs to be the right motor speed, or the right motor power, and a semicolon. Copy this, and now I'm going to set my left motor power. Left motor power, and make sure it's my left motor channel. Left motor channel. So what that'll do is it'll delay 20 milliseconds, and then it'll set my variables up here equal to wherever I have my finger on that joystick, and it'll constantly be checking it right here. And that's it for your joystick control. So I'm going to pause the video right now and get set up for the next section where I actually plug it in, build it, and then compile it. Okay, so I'm back. I had a little issue with that. My advice in order to fix the issue that I was having, it wasn't connecting for some odd reason. So I just left my Cortex off and then unplugged it and plugged it back in. I'm going to leave my Cortex off when I compile and download to the robot, or build. I gotta get used to saying build too. Build and then upload it to my robot. So push F8 to build your file, so F8, and that'll build your file. You may need to push on the lightning bolt over in the corner to build it again. So save and build, and it'll build the project. And what that does again, turns it into computer friendly language. Hold down Control, press F9, and it should upload all this information to my robot. And I think it will. I was having this problem last time. Okay, still having problems. So I'm going to click no, exit this, and let's see if I can fix it real quick. I'm going to unplug it from my computer and then plug it back in. And if I have to, I'll have to push the config button and try to configure it. So I'm plugging it back in, and I'm going to re-upload it to the bot, and let's see if it goes this time. There it goes. It finally found the bootloader. It just took me unplugging it and plugging it back in. And that's it. It's uploaded to the Cortex, so let me pause the video and get set up for controlling it with the remote control. Okay, so I've paired my VEXnet keys by plugging in the 8AA cable from my Cortex into my remote control, and now I've turned them on and they're successfully paired. I am going to push up on the analog joystick and down. You can see that my wheel is spinning. The only problem is my wheels are spinning opposite direction when I push up and when I push down, because I didn't set it up in reverse direction, and that's pretty easy to do in your program. I'm going to go back to Pros and show you how to do that. What we need to do is in our program right here, change the left motor power to negative, and that should change the direction of that motor so that the motors are turning in the same direction. When we set up our motors in our what are they called, functions, so in Java they're called methods, but when we set up our functions for controlling our motors, we can also set up a direction that way as well. So maybe in the next video or in a couple videos I'll get to that. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helps out. And thank you. I'll see you in the next one.